Go ahead and get started.
Shalom, everyone. Thank you all for joining us today. Maybe some of you already know me, and if not, I'm Achia. I'm the director of the Afula-Gilboa in Southern New England Consortium Partnership Together. The Jewish Agency for Israel's Partnership Together Global Network aims to forge connections between Israeli regions and Jewish communities worldwide. The partnership between the Afula-Gilboa region and the Jewish communities in Southern New England, commonly known as SNEC, has fostered a growing network of support and connections. This collaboration enriches community life in both sides of the ocean through interpersonal bonds, community involvement, and strengthening ties with Israel. We are proud of our long-standing relationship with the Haifa Rape Crisis Center, with which our partnership played a key role in opening and supporting the local branch in Afula. This branch serves the population of Afula, Gilboa, and the surrounding valleys. During these challenging times, our SNEC communities recognize the growing need for support and are committed to helping sustain the center's activities. I'm now pleased to pass the floor to the center's staff. Rachel, the stage is yours.
Thanks. So hi, everyone. Good afternoon or evening. My name is Rachel Valenta, and I'm the Resource Development Coordinator for Communities Abroad for Haifa Rape Crisis Center. And so today we wanted to talk to you guys a little bit about what we are doing, especially right now in such a difficult situation, and what we are foreseeing about the upcoming year, especially in Afula, and we have an amazing branch there, and what the role that you guys can play in that and how we can together make it a safer and more supportive community. So today we have 3 amazing women speaking. They will share stories and insights and their own experiences from the field. So to begin, I'll introduce you to Tali Eisenberg, who is our CEO at the center. And she'll give us a little bit of an overview of HRCC and what we've been doing, big picture, as well as this year specifically with the war. So go ahead and Tali.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining us on a Sunday. And a huge thank you to Achia for organizing this event and inviting us to take part in it. And I also must thank my staff, Reut and Rachel, for working hard for it to make it happen, and Kermit for taking a great part in it. And after those big words, I have to say that it's hard to put into words the scope of the challenges we face this year at the HRCC. Every year, the Haifa Rape Crisis Center deals, and even does it well, deals with crisis. It's literally in our name. We hear the voices of thousands of survivors, each one carrying their unique pain and resilience. But this year, those voices have grown louder and more urgent. Since October 7th, the demand for our services has surged. Survivors who had once found some sense of stability are now grappling with renewed trauma, while new survivors, some of who are fleeing violence in the north, are reaching out to us for the first time. The war has amplified the need for support, particularly in the areas like Afula, Gilboa, and the valleys, where resources were already limited. And I must say that I remember when we first opened our branch in the area, and the voices that we heard were people saying to us, we don't have that problem. And they were right. I mean, we didn't see any calls, almost any calls from those areas. And I really remember our shock when we first started talking to people and advertising and campaigning against sexual violence. And we started receiving a huge amount of calls, some of them with really some of the worst stories and traumas that we've met. So when we talk about this branch, I must say that every time it feels like dropping several water drops in the desert. Every time you put some water, you see something wonderful that flowers, and we see pain coming out, but we also see the resilience. We also see the hope. We also see the possibility to help. Amidst the hardship, there is also hope, as I said. At the Haifa Rape Crisis Center, we work tirelessly to adapt and respond as quickly as possible. We've expanded our outreach, strengthened partnerships with local organizations, and continue to offer critical services such as our hope helplines, support groups, and crisis meeting. None of this would be possible without the dedication of our team and the generosity of partners like you. Tonight, you'll hear from Reut Manor-Grof, the manager of our Afula branch, about the incredible strides being made in the region. But first, I'll pass it back to Rachel to introduce our next speaker.
Thanks so much, Tali. And thanks for setting the stage and sharing the heart of what we do at the HRCC. And I'd like to introduce our guest speaker of the night, Dr. Karmit Klar-Chalamish, who is the head of research development at the Association of Rape Crisis Centers in Israel. And she'll be sharing insights from ARCCI's latest report on sexual and gender-based violence. And so here is Dr. Karmit.
Thank you, Rachel. I will share my presentation. So, can you see it? Just say yes.
Yes.
See it? Okay. Thank you. Okay. So my name is Karmit Klar-Chalamish. I'm the head of the research department in the Association of Rape Crisis Centers in Israel. Just have to see what side it is. Okay, so you heard from Tali what the Haifa Rape Crisis Center and the Afula branch is doing in regular days. And I work for the Association of Rape Crisis Center, which is the umbrella organization for all 9 rape crisis centers in Israel, from Kiryat Shmona in the north to Be'er Sheva in the south. We are working in the national level with policymakers. We promote legislation. We work with the media and also conduct researches. And then came October 7th. It was a horrible day for all of us. And a shrieking siren woke the country up. Everybody went to the shelters with their pajamas. And when we came out of the shelters, we turned on the television and couldn't believe what we saw there. It was like a horror movie, only real and live. I want to show you a short movie of the Nobel Festival party.
אבא, יש מלא מתים, תשלח משטרה לפה.
מתים?
אבא, בבקשה, תשלח משטרה לפה, נכון.
Hello everyone in Israel. I'm really excited to announce my performance.
תראו שאהבנו אתכם. זה לא מצחיק אותי, אני עומדת לכם.
ירו במישהי פה. לא.
אמא, אבא, אני אוהב אתכם.
Everything is in the mind.
יובלי, לנשום עמוק, להתחבא, להיות פני מתה. תהי מתה. יובלי, תהי מתה.
ביי.
I can't believe some of them are still there. Anyway, we realized we were facing a situation we'd never met before. We usually in the Rape Crisis Center and the association, we deal with sexual harassment, incest, date rape, but we never met this kind of things before. So the first thing we did is to seek knowledge. We contacted some experts worldwide and important knowledge to professionals in Israel. We met women from Ukraine and former Yugoslavia, and we understood that it may take some time for survivors to contact us. So, meanwhile, we started to visit places all over the world. So we started to collect the information we got. A lot of some professionals called us, family members of victim survivors called us, and we took all these bits and pieces of information and put them together. This was the first thing we did. And then we published our report. It was February last year. And what we actually did is to gather all the information and try to see what the big picture is. We included official information of the Israeli government, publication in the media, interviews with first responders, and some confidential information. We didn't include any social media videos or picture because we didn't know if they were real or not, so we were very cautious about it. And what we did is we identified 4 arenas: the Nova Festival Party, as you saw in the movie, and private homes in kibbutzim near Gaza, the IDF bases, and captivity. And what we understood that everywhere happened the same things, more of the same. We know about captivity more things now because some of them came back and talked about it, but in February, we didn't know so much yet. So we identified 2 categories of things. The first one was war rape practices. This is patterns of action used to perpetrate sexual assault during an armed conflict. And then second one is sadistic practices, which are practices characterized by brutal demonstrative features aimed at intensifying the degradation and terror of sexual assault. I will talk a little bit about each of them. I will make it short because it's hard for me even now to talk about it. Still, it always surprises me. So the first one in the war rape practices is systematic use of brutal violence to commit rape. One of the survivors of the Nova Festival Party, she saw from her hiding place a large group of Hamas terrorists passing injured women between them. She saw a young woman being pulled by one terrorist from her hair, and while another one is penetrating her. Each time the woman resisted, the terrorist stabbed her in her back. The second one is multiple abusers or gang rape. We know that a lot of things happened by more than one terrorist. They did it together. They watched it while one of them was abusing. And the third one is rape in the presence of family members or community members. And in some cases, in the Nova Festival Party, and also in the kibbutzim, the rape took place in front of other family members or friends. And we know that a lot of them feel shame or even guilty for doing nothing while trying to save their lives. So this is a special characteristic of the thing. The fourth one is sexual offenses of males. It's important to say that also males were abused during this attack. I talked to a survivor and it's very hard for him to talk about it and to start living his life to heal from what happened to him. And the last one is execution during or after rape. We know that most of the victims were killed after being raped. We know also of some cases of women who were sexually abused after they were dead. So sometimes it was together. And this is second. Okay, so the sadistic practices, the first one is binding and tying. And we know that a lot of bodies were found bound and gagged and sometimes even tied to one another, family members or just friends. The second one is mutilation and destruction of genital organs I don't know what was the thing with the genital organs, but they had something with genital organs. Maybe it was about the next generation, or I think symbolic, I don't know, harm. A lot of eyewitnesses described the picture of deliberate harm to genital organs of both men and women, including, among other things, direct targeted shooting, mutilation of organs and destruction, burning, things like this. Another thing which is more of the same is insertion of weapons in intimate areas, like nails, knives, all kinds of weapons. And the last one is destruction and mutilation of the body. In many cases, deliberate mutilation of the body occurred, including facial mutilation and decapitation. Many bodies were found with detached heads, and it made the identification of them very hard for the forces in Shura. It's important to say that it wasn't a sporadic incident, or it was like a systemic attack. Although things were, people told us that they saw it in all of those places, all of those arenas I talked about before. And after we published the report, he got a lot of attention all over the world. We hope to do something about it, but I don't know if it made a change. As you can see, we talked about it in a lot of places all over the world. And these days, we're trying to do the second phase of the report and to try to identify the things that happened in captivity, but we are still working on it. We wait for all of them to come back before we can publish it. And I want to show you a short movie of Amit Sassana. She's an ex-hostage who talked about her experience. She was sexually abused, and she was the first one who talked about it out loud. So we will see a short movie.
So one day, Muhammad came and gave me women's sanitary pads. He said, dam. When you get your period, after that, you'll take a shower and you'll wash your clothes. And he kept repeating that every couple of times a day. That immediately made me feel creepy. I felt really scared, like I knew that something is about to happen. And the period was just for one day, but I fooled him to think that the period is continuing. So I remember going to the toilet, folding the pads really tight so he won't see that there's no blood. So I did it for about a week until I could not lie anymore. And he said, oh, come on, go take a shower. I told him, no, I don't want to. The water is cold. I don't want to take a shower. Please, I don't want to take a shower. And he said, no, don't worry. Don't worry. He untied me and took me to the kitchen and showed me a pot sitting on the stove. And I remember thinking, Amit, now is the moment. Something, what you thought about is going to happen. I bent down in the bathtub like this so I could cover myself up, taking the warm water from the pot and put it in over my head. And for 1 second, I completely forgot about everything. I just really enjoyed the warm water on my face. And then I remember hearing him saying, quickly, Amit, quickly. And then I remember I turned around. He was standing with his gun, and the gun was pointed out at me, and he was huffing and breathing heavily, and he had a face like a monster, like a beast, like this. So I stood up and held a blanket, a small blanket, to cover myself, and he came towards me and just pointed the gun really hard at my forehead, screaming at me, take it off, and punching me, until I could not hold the towel anymore. And he started touching me, and I resisted, and then he dragged me to the bedroom. And then he forced me to commit a sexual act on him. And I remember the entire time I was like thinking, Amit, okay, you knew it's gonna happen. It's really happening. I said to myself, okay, you can handle this. You just want to survive. You need to survive. Your mom, your family is waiting. I just concentrated on that instead of what's really going on. And when he was finished, he went to clean himself up. I got dressed, covered myself up, and I was crying. He came in and he told me, I'm good, Amit, right? I'm good? No, I'm no good. No, I'm good. I'm your friend, right? I remember I could not look at him. I looked away. And then he got really mad. He closed the door, and I was in that room in complete darkness. Then he came in again and asked me, food? Food? I'm good, right? I'm good. Food? And I realized that if I say no, he's gonna punish me again. So I said, yeah, food. And that's the worst part, that I'm completely dependent on him, completely dependent on the guy who just forced me to do what he forced me to do.
Wow. Thank you, Amit. So I want to speak on behalf of those who cannot speak anymore. And I know it wasn't easy to listen for this, but I know it's very important for us to talk about it, and that people outside of Israel will know what we were doing here for the last year. So thank you, Haifa Rape Crisis Center and the Afula branch for inviting me to talk about it. And I'm here for questions if you have.
Thank you so much. And if anyone has questions, and if anyone has questions, we're happy to give you the opportunity now. And there will also be opportunity at the end if you need a moment. So we'll give it a minute.
Just to say I'm speechless.
Yeah.
So we can go ahead and continue, and there will be another chance at the end for questions. So thank you so much, Dr. Clark Halamish, for doing this. It's like you said, I know it doesn't get easier, and we appreciate you taking the time and sharing your findings and your work. It's such a difficult matter. So I would now like to welcome Reut Manar-Grof, who is the manager of our Afula branch. And she's going to speak a little bit about the journey of this branch and its impact on the local community, and specifically about how the impact has been throughout this war, what this year has done to the branch. So here is Reut.
So, hi everyone. It's hard to talk after Amit's words and the other testimonies. What comforts me are the things we do to help victims. So my name is Reut Manar-Grof, and I'm honored to serve as the new manager of the HRCC, Afula-Gilboa, and the Valleys branch. My primary mission is to connect with the local instituents, understand community needs, and ensure that the people of Afula, Gilboa, and the Valleys know who we are and the vital support we offer through our crisis center. Our goal is to make our resource accessible and to reach more survivors while fostering societal change to end sexual violence and prevent future assaults. Here are a few details about the Afula, Gilboa, and the Valleys branch. established in 2006 out of the needs to have more coverage of the area, and a specific person encourage the facilities the needs of the community. As soon as the branch was formed, to outreach from the community increased significantly. This past year has posed profound challenges. The ongoing conflict has intensified trauma across Afula-Gilboa, and the valleys. Many individuals, both those directly affected and survivors with rebounded wounds from the past, are seeking help. I witnessed both women and men who have suffered in silence for years finally stepping forward, seeking assistance because they realize they no longer have to carry their pain alone. At our Afula branch, we provide crisis meetings, support groups, and training for both volunteers and professionals. This ensures that every survivor receives the expert care they deserve. Our support groups, which run for approximately 8 months, serve as safe events for survivors to share their story and begin the healing process. Our mission extends beyond service provision. We are dedicated to rebuilding trust and hope in a community that has often felt hesitant to ask for help. The emotional weight of this work is profound. It is not easy to listen to someone's recounting of trauma or to hear a mother speak of her child's pain. Yet it's some of the most meaningful work I have ever experienced. We recognize the critical needs for therapeutic solution in our area, where waiting lists can extend of over a year. This understanding shapes our plans for the coming year. Here what we envision for the next year. First, community engagement. We will deepen our connecting with the Afula-Gilboa and the Valleys community, ensuring they know how we can support them. 2, development of the Afula Center. We aim to enhance our physical center in Afula for the benefits of survivors. Third, program explanation. We will offer more programs, including crisis meeting, individual treatments, 2 support groups for victims and their mothers, various education workshops, and a new volunteer course starting in March. This course will empower local women to volunteer, providing vital support on our helpline and accompanying survivors to police station, hospital, and other necessary places. 4, awareness seminar. In collaboration with city officials, we will host a seminar to raise awareness and equip the community with essential tools and knowledge. The training will involve security personnel, healthcare professional, social work staff from local college, workplace manager, and our connect in law, enforcement, and government. As we look ahead, my hope is to strengthen this community with your support, creating more space where survivors and their family can find comfort, strength, and encouragement. The impact of recent events has been overwhelming, and the need of our service is greater than ever. Together, we are not just offering service, we are transforming lives. Thank you for standing with us in this circle walk.
And thank you, Re'ut. It's amazing that you have been there such a short period of time and done so much already. So thank you for telling us about it and for what you do at the branch. So as we close, I want to go ahead and say thank you to everyone who has partnered with us before. The partnerships we have with Afula is really one of the first partnerships I really learned about when I joined this role. And it's because it's a really deep relationship we have, and it means a lot to us. And for people who aren't involved yet, we are always looking for more relationships and partnerships. And definitely get in touch with us, and we can talk about what format best suits your interests and capabilities. And it's an amazing branch that covers a great area of the country, and we are so appreciative of everyone for being part of that. So thank you, everybody. And we are happy to have more questions if anyone has.
I'll jump in if no one else has a question. I'm curious to hear what your needs are for the upcoming year. I heard a lot about your plans. There's a lot of things planned for the year. What do you need to make that happen? Like what support do you need? What resources do you need?
Rachel, may I?
Yeah.
I think that our two main goals is outreach in the community, in both governmental, the municipality, non-governmental, and the entire social structure of the area, especially in Afula, in the valleys area in Gilboa. And secondly, we want every child in this area to meet our very trained staff and talk to them about sexuality, about healthy relationship, about consent, and also about what to do when I'm being harmed, when I'm being in danger. In order to do that, we need, as you understand, we need both the support and partnership that we already are enjoying for quite a long time for many of you, which is really incredible. And the second one, we need to strengthen our connections within the community. One of the thoughts we had when Ruth, I can tell you now, Ruth, when was interviewed, we felt that she is really deep inside the community and knowing this area. And very quickly what happened when she started working was started talking to people, making the connections or using her connections within the area to relate to those people and talk to them, because our main goal is not only to talk to people, but also to listen to their needs, their fears, and understand how we can make lives better, both for victims of sexual assault and for the entire society. I'm being presumptuous, right? But that's my political need. I mean, that's my political job.
Big aspirations.
What about financial commitments? What do you need to make all this happen financially?
First, basically,
no one's asked yet.
Sorry?
No one's put that out there yet.
Yeah.
Curious to hear what you need.
Well, basically, it's really simple, because every bit of thing that Reut mentioned costs money. If I want to open a support group will cost us about 25,000 shekels. One support group, 16 meetings for 10 women. But those 10 women will meet each other, meet two facilitators, two specialists, to realize they are not alone. And this is on our logo. You are not alone. So support group is a main attraction and main activity for us, and it costs a lot of money. And we have interns that give therapy. And this year we'll have also at least one in the Afula branch. I need to have her coached. I need to have her trained. These things cost thousands of shekels every year just for one person to give treatment to 4 women. These are the numbers. And if I'm talking about educational workshops, then I must say that every time we do a workshop in a school or in a boarding school or other institutions for youth, usually it's either we help them or we find a specific donation that supports this activity. I hope I answered your question.
No, that's helpful. So around $5,000 or $6,000 funds one support group for a year, roughly 25,000 shekels. Okay,
Yeah,
that's helpful. It's a good metric to understand for us.
And
I
I'll
must
add
say,
in.
many times I think about things like, no way, it will cost about 2 sessions of a support group. That's too costly. I really look at that as my my go-to number.
Thank you.
Yeah, sure.
And I'll add in that some of the people that we're in contact with want to donate to specific aspects of our educational projects. So facilitating for the children, for the youths, is one of the easiest ones that people want to donate to. But one of the things that we're trying to also grow is we have a great program working with staff and parents. So we meet with staff before we even go in and say, what are you guys seeing? What are you hearing? Because they hear things. And that can guide us on what we can do best. And then afterwards, helping them figure out, now that we've opened the floodgates, what's coming at you? What are you going to have to deal with? And how should you deal with it? Or another one is the parents. How can parents be involved? What should they know? And that's something where we're now trying to focus more on that with our partners. This is such an important aspect of that whole educational program. And it's a fascinating aspect that I think has a huge impact.
Great, thank you.
Hi there. I have a question too, and you'll forgive me. I've been sick in bed for a couple of days, so you really don't want to look at me. This is Jara Kaufman. I'm from the Berkshires of Western Mass, and I'm part of the we're part of the SNEC coalition. I'm wondering, and maybe I have this information in the past, but I'm wondering how many individuals are served by the Afula-Gilboa branch each year. How many women, and also if you're doing outreach in the schools, if you have numbers related to the educational side of it.
רייצ'ל, את יכולה לחזור רגע על השאלה? כי פספסתי על עוד כמה.
כן. היא שאלה בערך כמה אנשים אנחנו מטפלים בעפולה, וגם כאילו ספציפי לחינוך.
אז אני אדבר בעברית ואת תתרגמי?
את יכולה לדבר בעברית ואני אבין את זה גם, אבל אולי את לא תתרגמי.
אוקיי, אבל אולי רייצ'ל באמת תתרגם, כן, אם יש מישהו שלא מבין אנגלית. אז אני אגיד שב-2023, אז היו, רק שנייה, כתוב לי הכל שאני לא זה.
משהו כמו 1,000 פניות.
כן, ב-2023 משהו כמו 1,000 פניות, שמתוכם 10% אנחנו יודעים שהגיעו מאזור העמקים
לא, היו 10,000 פניות, ו1,000 פניות הגיעו מאזור עפולה והעמקים.
זה מסתדר המספרים, 10,000.
כן, האיגוד פה צופה.
נכון. וגם הייתה מתמחה אחת שטיפלה בכ4 נשים, עוד מטפלת שבמחיר סמלי טיפלה. נכון, טלי? אני לא טועה.
כן, כן.
היה קבוצת תמיכה, קבוצה של ביבליותרפיה, שהייתה בשיתוף עם היחידה הטיפולית של עפולה. ולגבי סדנאות, אז אני יכולה להגיד, רק שנייה, שבאזור העמקים, ראית שאת זה, רציתי? באזור העמקים משהו כמו, היו 370 סדנאות חינוך, משהו כמו 2,000 בני נוער וצוות, שמתוכם בעפולה היינו בבית ספר אחד, בבית ספר בן גוריון, בבית ספר גדול, העברנו שם 170 סדנאות, שזה בערך לכ-800 בני נוער וצוות. וכמובן שהמטרה שלנו השנה זה להרחיב ולהגדיל את הפעילות החינוכית, גם בעפולה ובגלבוע, ובעיקר לשים דגש על הכשרה של צוותים, כי אנחנו יודעים שכמה משמעותי זה בעצם ההכשרה של הצוותים שפוגשים יום יום את הילדים, אז ככה זה הדגש שלנו לשנת 2025.
Thank you, Ruth. And I'll go ahead and translate just for anyone who didn't hear it all. So we had about 1,000 contacts for this area alone, which is about 10% of our overall contacts that the HRCC received. We had this year one social worker, which treated 4 people, and then another one that paid a nominal fee. And that's one-on-one sessions that it's usually people who desperately need that help and can't get it through the state. We had one support group that ran fully. We also did a lot of educational workshops. So for the Valleys area, Gilboa and the Valleys, we had about 370 workshops, which impacted directly about 1,000 people, and that's youths and staff. And we had about 170 workshops in Afula proper, which is about 900 students and staff. And this year specifically, our goal is to increase education. We know we can reach a lot more young people, and we know the impact that has in prevention. And we're doing a big push, like I said, on the trying to reach staff members and family parents, and that side of the education. So thank you, Ruth.
I have a question. My name is Arlene Dressler, and I'm part of the Eastern Connecticut JFEC. I've attended every program that has been offered to us. One specifically was from a survivor. Another one was the cousin of a survivor. Not just a cousin of a survivor, but a cousin who, as a hostage, was released. And it's almost difficult. I'm 79 years old. I've seen a lot in my life, and a lot I haven't seen, and I hope I won't see before my life is over. But I listened so carefully to what she said, and she actually said that they were raping dismembered bodies that had no arms, no legs, no. Have any of the people that you have treated come in? I mean, how do they? It's almost, I don't know. It's almost as difficult to watch this as it is to be involved in it. And I just wondered if you've dealt with any of that yet.
We heard also several testimonies. I must say that we always take care not to share information that we received on our hotlines. So I'm sorry, I can't comment on that specific.
Okay.
But I've read the testimonies, I'm afraid, and we can, of course, say that the bystanders in this situation were also violated and were also harmed severely, as well as, of course, the let's say the direct victim. I can say that our feeling here in the HRCC throughout the war from October 7th was all the time receiving more horrendous information, more testimonies, more victims talking, more bystanders, more information that we already thought that we've heard everything, because that's what we do on a day-to-day basis. We talk to survivors. We hear about awful sexual violence and crimes, and we had been overwhelmed with these information. But the thing that we know how to do is to take our rage and to take our frustration and to put it into action. That's literally our work. Every time we got some new information, we just try to wrap our heads around it and think, what can we do about it? And the immediate thing, by the way, was to say, we have to instruct all our instructors in order to handle with the kids and the youth that hear those testimonies on TV and are subjected to the awful snuff clips. And we had to immediately refer to that and know how to handle it throughout our workshops.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments?
I would really like to, I believe, to say on behalf of everyone that listened to this phenomenon session, that we are deeply grateful for the sacred work that you do. This is unbelievable. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for being here with us. And
Yeah. I just want to echo what Akia said. Thank you on behalf of the partnership for the work you do. We appreciate it. We know how hard it is, and appreciate that you're doing it, and happy we can play some small part in supporting your programs.
Thank you. We really feel that. I know, again, I'm being overwhelmed by this, but it really helps us to know that we are not alone with this, and that we have partners both here in Israel with the Jewish Agency and abroad with your partnership and your support. And we really felt the heartfelt messages and the support that you gave us. And being here today, listening to the not so easy materials. Thank you, Karmit, for that. And being with us and listening to us, to our hardship. So I thank you so much. And thank you again, Achia, for making this happen.
Thank you all so much.
Toda rabba.
And Dara, get well soon. Thank you for being
here. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Take care.
Bye-bye, להתראות.
תודה רבה לכולם.
תודה. יאללה חברות, לילה טוב, תודה.
לילה טוב.